What is up, people? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for another podcast. Today, I thought that we would just go through the U18s and take a look at the team, take a look at the players that played there, like look at the USA, the Sweden, Finland, Canada. There's not a lot of players that I know from Slovakia or Norway and stuff like that, so we're not going to be talking about those players. We're going to be talking mainly about the four big countries at the U18. So yeah, just a quick recap and talking about who did good and who did okay and who did meh. And as usual, I'm gonna be recording my screen, so if you're on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, I think on Spotify you can actually look at the screen. I'm not 100% sure, but doesn't matter. If you're on a platform that you can watch, then you can watch what's gonna be happening on the screen, which is not much. Alright, so let's get this started. And the first thing, we're gonna start with the USA. On my other screen, I put some like little bullet points so I can know where I'm going and don't forget too much stuff. Alright, so first thing, we're gonna be talking about the USA to start this thing, and they were, in my opinion, the best team in the tournament. Like, obviously Canada, they won against the US, like with 3 assists from Connolly. So there's that. But overall, throughout the tournament, I think the USA was the best team, which is often the case, because the thing with the U18 is that Canada, they can't send some of their best players because they are in the playoffs in Canada in the CHL, whether it's the WHL or the OHL or the QMJHL. So players like Perek or Dickinson or players like that, they just can't go to the U18s. They're in their own playoffs, so they're not gonna get out of there like Connolly did with the US to go to the U18s. It just doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, let's start with the US. And the first player that I think that did really good, and we're gonna be talking mostly about players from this draft, because obviously there's players like James Higgins, and we're gonna go over him, but like he's from next year's draft, so we're not going to be talking too much about him. Yeah, so one of the players that I really liked and that I wanted him to have that kind of tournament was Cole Hudson. I just really loved everything that he did. He was probably the best defenseman in the whole tournament, at least in terms of production, but even defensively, I think he managed his gap pretty well. He was not physical because he can be physical, even though he did try to step in routes sometimes, but you know, the guy's 5'10". But like, I don't understand why everybody was so high on Lane Hudson and they're not high on Cole Hudson. Like, I'm not as high on Cole Hudson as I was on Lane Hudson, but he's a pretty spectacular player. Offensively, he has basically the same numbers as his brother did, and at the USA, at the U18, he's having better numbers. Like, if I actually take time to look and I don't say stuff that I'm not sure about. If I go here and I write Cole Hudson. Cole Hudson. All right, so in the tournament, he had 13 points in 7 games with 4 goals. So amazing production in terms of stats, and I'm pretty sure that overall that was the best production in the whole tournament for defensemen. Can I just use defenseman here? Probably. Yup. All right. So the next best is Henry Muse, another one that I liked a lot, but he has 7-7. Cole Hudson has 13-7, so pretty big gap in terms of production. But I think that just overall, all over the ice, he was just amazing. He was excellent. He made plays everywhere. He was good defensively. He was good offensively, and just overall the best in the tournament. After that, we can take a look. Now we're taking a look, but obviously James Higgins was like I'm not sure if he was the best player. Like, would you say McKenna is better than James Higgins, or Higgins was better than McKenna? I'm not sure. It's hard to say. Like, they were both dominant in their own way. The thing is, McKenna is 16-year-old. He's like two years away from his draft. James Higgins is gonna be in draft. It's gonna be drafted next year. Jeez, that was not easy. And yeah, so it's like he's a year older, right? And there's like 2 points difference between both. So I would say McKenna was the best player, but I think James Higgins was really close, and he beat the record that Kucherov had with 21 points. And James Higgins ended up with 22, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to put back the all positions so we can see all the points. Yeah, exactly. So James Higgins, 22 points, 9 goals in 7 games. So that's just outstanding. It's 3.14 points per game. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's better than players like from last year or the year before, like Will Smith, when they were the three together and they were destroying the U18s. Well, he did better than that. So with less support. So I would say it's pretty good. I thought also Brody. It's Brody, and they say Brody when they call his name. So Brody Zimmer, I think he was pretty good too. He had more points than I thought he did. Like, how can I say that? It's like the fact that I feel like I liked his game. He was good. He was not great, but when I looked at the points, he had more points than I thought he did. Like, if I look here, he has 12 points in 7 games. So that's really good. But when you look at him in the tournament, I didn't feel like that was the production. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying. It's just like the eye test didn't fit the production. But still, he was good. It's just that he didn't stood out to me. Like, the two players that really stood out outside of James Higgins, the two players from this year that really stood out to me were Cole Hudson and Teddy Stiga. Obviously Cole Arzelman too, even Connolly to a certain extent, but Teddy Stiga was really good. I really love his game all over the ice. He was aggressive, he was making plays everywhere. Just a crazy progression over the season, from the beginning of the season in the USNTDP to the end of the season to now the U18. He just got so much better at everything. He's faster. He's a better playmaker. He's a better shooter. He plays with more aggressivity. He plays with heart. He plays in both sense of the ice. Like, he plays defensively. He's gonna back check. He's gonna forecheck. He goes to the net if he needs to. He shoots from the middle of the ice. He's doing everything that he needs to do to succeed. To put it simply, just to succeed. Like, if I go here, can I go like USA? No, I can't. I'm going to try to have like a page open with all the teams. Yeah, all right. So if I go here in the USA 18, go on stats. There you go. So how much points did he have? He had 11 points in 7 games. So it's less than Brody Zimmer, but I prefer Teddy Stiga over Brody Zimmer, if that makes sense. All right. Another player that was really good also was obviously Max Plant. Good speed. I love the way he played. He was really, like, he was energetic and he was playing with speed. He was pushing the pace every time he had the puck on his stick. He was also trying to cut to the net without the puck and try to get backdoor plays there. So I think it was overall really good. He has a good shot. Well, he has a good shot. He didn't show that much that he had a good shot this season, but yeah, I think that he has a better shot than what most people anticipated. And yeah, just made plays, good speed, good shot, and he produced, again, more than I thought, a bit like Brody Zimmer with his 11 points in 7 games. That's really good. Another one that did really good is Cole Arzelman. 10 points in 7 games, including 9 goals. Yeah. Sorry, I lagged for a second. Yeah, including 9 goals here. That's really good. What else is there to say about that? Like, I understand when people talk about the fact that he's really one-dimensional, and he really is, right? If anybody wanted to see Cole Arzelman be better and be more dynamic as a driver, or be a better playmaker or something like that, it didn't happen, right? It did not happen whatsoever. He did a little bit more physical play, but he already did that in USNTDP. Not that he's very physical, but sometimes it just comes out of nowhere, a bit like he did with the big check. Was it against Sweden? I don't remember. I think it's against Sweden. But outside of that, like, his game is scoring goals, right? And it's finding the soft ice, finding the space where there's nobody, and just being there. And it was crazy to me when I was watching the Canada versus USA. Like, there was so many times he was completely alone on the right side of the ice. Nobody even within like 5 or 10 feet of him. Completely crazy. Like, that guy has the best one-timer in the whole tournament, probably the best shot in the whole tournament, and nobody's covering it. Like, they just left him alone. I don't know. Not a strategy I would use. They won, so I cannot say anything. But one way or another, it's just, I don't know. The guy has the best shot in the draft, and you're just gonna leave him alone. Maybe it's just like they weren't reading the ice well, or they just forgot about him. But that's what he does, right? He's just really good at being forgotten and find the space for him to release just a tremendous shot. So that's what he does, and that's what he did. And he scored 9 goals in 7 games, and he actually beat Cole Caulfield's record in the US NTDP overall. I don't know, like the US NTDP is like the only league that count those stats. Like they take everything together and they like, oh, the guy has 127 goals over his 2 years and his tournaments. It's like, I don't know why they do that, but it's a thing for them. So yeah, he did beat Cole Caulfield by 1 goal, or maybe 2 goals. I'm not sure. I don't care much about records, so it is what it is. Connolly, I thought he was great until until the hit. I've in my video, in my highlights that I did about that game, there's a lot of people calling it like a soft call, something like that. I don't agree that it's a soft call. Like, it was clearly to the head, and it was clearly blindsided. So yeah, it's a penalty no matter what. But at least I like the fact that Trevor Connolly was intense the whole tournament, right? He was trying, not just in the way that he played, but also in his physicality. Even though he's not a big guy, he's like taller, he's 6'1" or something like that, but he's not a big guy, he's not a heavy guy, and he was making plays, and he was trying to hit people, he was trying to disrupt the plays and get the puck by using his body, which was basically what he does in the USHL. But he was doing it at the U18, and he was being pretty good at it. And he ended up the tournament with 9 points in 7 games. And like I said, that's like, as a guy that just came in on the team, it's not like he's been with them for 2 years. He was in the USHL playing in his own team, and they invited him to the tournament. He played there and got there, and just 9 points in 7 games. So I think that was very good. There's no other way to put it. It's like you just get dropped on a team that played together for 2 years. You're the only outsiders, and all of a sudden you produce 9 points in 7 games. There's nothing to say there. He was just great, and he was, like I said, he was intense. He was not only intense offensively, but he was trying to play hard too, using his body to make plays. So that's really good. Other players that I think were good, E.G. Emery was pretty good. Ben Eric was good. Mooney, I'm not his biggest fan, but yeah, Mooney was good. The goaler Camp was pretty good too. And players that were just okay, I would say, like Humphreys and Wills Cahan. They weren't my favorite, but you can't say that they were bad, but they were just like okay. All right, but I liked overall. I liked E.G. Emery's game. He was really good. He moved the puck well, and he moved his feet well, and he made good defensive plays. Overall, they did really good. The USA, like I said, was the best team on the ice the whole tournament. If it wasn't for that penalty from Connolly, I'm not sure if Canada would have been able to come back. Like, obviously, they were just 1 goal behind, so it's very possible that it would have scored 1 goal, and then it goes to overtime, and then they win. Or it's possible. It's not something that's impossible. We're not like 5 goals behind, but that penalty with 3 goals on a power play sure helped them win. All right, so next jump to the next one, and the next one is Sweden. So I'm just gonna go here, and we're gonna take the Sweden team so we can have their roster and their stats. And honestly, even if I'm doing that, there's really not that many players that I was impressed by. I was actually, I can't say disappointed, because that's maybe it's too much of a strong word. Like, I was not disappointed by players, but there's not many players that I really liked outside of maybe Leo Salinwalenius. I liked his mobility. I liked his defense. I like the way he moved the puck. He's not a big offensive guy. There's not a lot of offense in his game. Like, if we look at the stats here, what does he have? Where is he? Yeah, he had 3 points in 7 games. So it's not like offensively he was outstanding or anything like that, but I thought overall he was their best defenseman. I know, like, Alphonse Fry as more, or Frey, how they say that, but I'm pretty sure in Sweden it's Fry. Had 6 points in seven games, so he did better. But overall, I think I prefer Leo Salinwalenius. I thought that every time he was on the ice, He was moving the play from defense to offense really quick. He was making quick decision. He was making good decision also with the puck. There was no, he was not getting too deep into the offensive zone and then couldn't come back. I just thought overall he played a smart game, a simple game, but he moved well and he defended well and he moved the puck forward well. So overall, what you want in that kind of defenseman. Is it enough to be a future NHL player? That is a question that I still have when I look at him. He's not a big guy, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, exactly. He's 6 foot. Yeah. Like I'm not finished with my final ranking. I'm doing it like right now. I'm working on it. And I don't know if Salen Wallenius is going to end up in first round. It's very possible, but it's also possible that he doesn't. so we'll see. Other player that were good. One player that I really like, but not a player that I would necessarily draft, is Alexander Zetterberg before he got injured. The guy's 5'8", so it's not like I want many 5'8" players on my team. I already have Caulfield for the Habs, so please, Zetterberg can just go somewhere else. And also it's the fact that there's not many players of that type of size with that type of production in the U20 in Sweden that actually makes it to the NHL, right? It's not like he has crazy production. Actually, if we go take a look here, we'll just find him. Like in the tournament itself, 5 points in 4 games was good, and he was definitely their most creative and their most dynamic player before he got injured. So obviously on that team, he was basically the best. But if you look at what he did in the season in the U20, just gonna click on that, and you know what, we're not gonna do it from here, we're gonna go from this one, and we're gonna go did I write an E? Yeah, okay. Alexander Zetterberg right here, and we're gonna do a little something. We're gonna go see stats in the J20 and see what's up. So draft eligibility, draft eligible. We're gonna put a little like 10 games here. Boom. So even on the season, like at 5'8", he's already like the 5th best in terms of production point per game. So it's already not looking great. Now if you do all-time season and you try to find him, Fernstrom is there. Zetterberg. Alexander Zetterberg. So like he has similar production to a player like Noah Huslin, Jesper Fast, Joel Eriksson Ek, but he was much bigger. Jacob Silverberg, but he was much bigger. So yeah, so at 5'8", that kind of production, I'm not sure it's looking that great. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah, but like I said, in the tournament, it was their most creative and their most dynamic player. The guy that was was creating offense every time he touched the puck. So there's always that. Alphonse Frey, I already talked a little bit about him. He was good. He skates really well. He creates offense every time he has the puck on his stick. He has decent size. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's enough to be a first round pick. Like, it's another guy that I've been like debating almost all season. Is he a first round? Is he like early second round, half of second round? We'll see in the end. But for now, I think he did really good in that tournament. Even though he wasn't my favorite defenseman for that team, I still think that he did good. And he has a lot of tools, like his offense, his vision, his skating, the fact that he's 6'1" and not like 5'11" or something like that. Yeah, overall, I think he's good. A little bit chaotic, but he's good. Other players that were good but not great, I would say maybe Fernstrom, Lucas Pettersson. I thought we would see more of Lucas Pettersson. Same thing with Linus Eriksson. They were good. I like how Lucas Pettersson was always open for a shot. So I thought it was like his main strength was that he was able to move away from coverage and find space where he could shoot the puck once he received it. So this is one thing that I really liked about his game. Linus Eriksson, I think he has really good hands. He was making plays, good passing skills, but also good at manipulating the defense. I love the way he uses his hands and his skating to just move sticks out of the way, or move player out of the way, or sell something and do something else. He did it really good. But Lucas Pedersen, like I said, his best trait in the tournament, in my opinion, was really the fact that he was good at getting open, or even made a pass and then move out of that zone to get into an open space. Yeah, I really like that. But overall, I think he was good, but he wasn't great. Like, there were chances that I just expected more. To put it simply, I expected more. Even Victor Nordlund, I didn't really know him. I don't even know where he plays. Did I see him before? I don't know. Is he ranked? Nope. Okay. He's a 5'9" guy with under a point per game in the J20. But overall, he did pretty good in the tournament. Like, wasn't great, but he did pretty good. So for Sweden, that's about it. It was not their best tournament. Was not their best team, but their game against Canada, they were completely dominant in the third period. Like, we couldn't even touch the puck. They were first on every single puck. They were playing bigger. They were playing stronger. They were playing faster. They controlled the puck for the whole time. So I mean, at least they came together and they really put pedal to the metal and tried to win when they played against us in the third period. It was a little too late, but it is what it is. But anyway, like, they didn't win, but they did really good. After that, we can jump to Finland, and that, like, it was worse than Sweden. So not that Sweden was bad. I want to obviously this is not my first language, so sometimes I try to find the words to describe what I'm trying to say, but I don't find them on the spot, so I just say whatever I want to say. But like, Sweden was good, but was not great. Finland was worse than that. They weren't bad, but they were like, all their top players, I expected more. To put it simply, that's the way it is. Like, Konsta should have been better. Emil Emming should have been better. They were a player that have played against pros all season, and they come in and they don't do anything that's really crazy, right? So if I go there and I click on their team, Finland U18, yeah, and then we click on the stats. Exactly. So, like, Konsta 7 assists in 5 games. It's not that it's a bad production, because obviously 7 assists in 5 games is good production. But I felt that when they played, was it against Sweden that they played their last game? I think so. If I go here and I go here, yeah, against Sweden, exactly. So I'm just gonna go back there. So against Sweden, I feel like Konsta he had a lot of chances that he didn't do anything with. Same thing with Emil Emming. Like, he took shots from far instead of getting closer to the net. He also took shots from close, but like, too many times I feel like he was trying to make plays from far from the net or from the outside, and he has the body, he has the hands to go to the inside and try to make things happen, and he didn't really. Even though the stats aren't bad at 6 points, 4 goals in 5 games, like, it's not bad at all, but it's not great, and I just expected more, because like I said, those two players, they're players that played against pros and plays in the Liga all season. Like, Konsta is like really good in the Liga. He's not just like surviving in there. He's doing really, really good. He's playing well defensively. He's not the strongest player. He's not the tallest player or the biggest and heaviest player, but he's still a great playmaker. He has good vision. He makes plays into space. He's really good at knowing where the play is going. He's always like 1 step or 2 step in front of the play. So, like, he's a smart player overall. So I thought that a guy that was this good in the Liga would come in and explode more than that offensively. Like, no goals is not great. 7 assists is good, but just expecting more. Same thing with Emil Emming, using his body, using his shot, go to the inside. He's not the fastest skater, but still, I mean, you're playing against U18s. You should be able to do something more than that. But anyways, it is what it is. Thomas Suoniemi did good production. I don't really know him. He's eligible. He's eligible, but that's all that I know about him. I didn't really watch him or know him or anything like that. So, but he was fine. Koivu was nothing really, and yeah, the one I want to talk about is Aaron Keviharu. Like, I keep being disappointed. And this one is really the word that I'm looking for this time. It's really, I keep being disappointed. Like, obviously he didn't play in a long time, so maybe he's rusted. But next year he wasn't great. And is it last year that he did like more than a point per game at the U18s, I think? And like, but 4 of those points came from playing against Norway, and all the rest were 1 point game. Like, he hasn't been great for a long time, and he's been great like in spurts only. Like, if we actually go to his stats, I'm gonna go here, and we're gonna go Aaron Kiviharju. Oops, did I make a mistake? Forgot that. All right, Aaron Kiviharju. All right, so let's look at that first. At the Ilinka, he didn't play this summer, so yeah. All right. Last year, is that here? Yeah, that's what I said. This tournament, in 2023, he had 7 points in 5 games. So when you look at it like that, you're like, oh my God, draft -1, 7 points in 5 games as a defenseman. It's amazing. And then you click on it, or at least I think. Maybe I'm. I don't know where to see it. Maybe if I go in his game. So a second. If we go here, and we go last year. Yeah, exactly. You see, 1 point against Switzerland, 1 point against Latvia, 1 point against the USA, and then 4 points against Norway. So in the end, it's not like his tournament was amazing. First, he was playing 25 minutes a night, and second, well, 4 points against Norway. So, no, I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Is that he did good, but it's not as good as what it looks like when you just look at the numbers. But overall, I can't say his tournament wasn't good. It was good, but it's just that it's not as good as what it looks like. And then his season in Liga last year was really not good. Yes, he did good in the U20 for in Finland, but it's the U20 in Finland. So yeah, this year I don't even remember if I saw one game in Liga this year, so I can't really talk about it. But in this tournament, he was, I don't know. It's not that he was bad, because he didn't look bad, but he didn't look good. He didn't look like a guy. He didn't look like an NHL guy. And he's what? He's a 5'10" or 5'9" defenseman, 5'10". So not only he needs to be extremely good, he needs to be extremely good offensively. He needs to be a better skater than what he did. Like, he's a shifty skater, but he's not a fast skater. He's agile, but it's not like he has a big top speed, a big top speed, or like even keeping his gap. It's not necessarily going to be an easy thing for him, because he's not that great of a skater for his size, and he's not that great offensively. So even though like we've seen him coming up for years, well, he's been going down for years also. So this year and last year, it's been going down. And honestly, yesterday I was working on my final ranking, and I could not find spot for him in the first round. Like, is he gonna end up in the first round? It's possible, but I don't know. I thought maybe if in this tournament he would have exploded against his peers, I would have been like, okay, maybe he deserves a spot. Even though I don't like to necessarily use the U18 to judge a player, it's still like, if the player didn't play all season, you gotta use something to judge him, right? So if it's the U18, it's the U18. But at 5'10", with his feet that aren't that great, his offense that is like not there anymore. I don't know. I'm not sure he's an NHL player. Like, I see the rankings here when I look at it. Like, he's plays 20 and 22 and 23 and 29 and 14. Like, what do you base that on? Like, what he was 2 years ago? Like a lot of young players, they are good and then they just reach their peak, and from there they can't progress anymore and they get passed by other player. Like there was that defenseman last year. Was it Cam Allen? Yeah, I think that's his name, right? The guy that we like most. A lot of people thought he would be a top 10, top 15 pick in last year's draft, and he ended up having a horrible season. Even though he went to the U18s also and did not do that bad, if I don't remember. But he was picked like in the third or fourth or fifth round, something like that. Not a big defenseman, not the most mobile defenseman. He wasn't great offensively, wasn't fantastic defensively. So overall, just a player that don't really have a role in the NHL. Like there's 6 defensemen in your lineup, maybe 7 if you roll 7 defensemen, and sometimes they roll 5. so it really depends, but you need to have a role, right? And if Aaron Kerviar, you cannot play in your top 4. Like, where is he gonna play? You're gonna have him on your third pair. What's gonna be his role? Like defensively, it's not like he's gonna be a guy that's gonna be making stops all the time. He's not a great skater, so it's not like his transition game is gonna be all over the place, and it's gonna be fantastic in transition, getting the puck deep and then moving it to the offense in an instant. That's not really what he's capable of doing. At least he didn't show that in the tournament, so I don't know why he would be able to do that in the NHL. Like now, this is his draft year. If we had those problems last year, I mean, he had those problems last year, and I was like, okay, well, it's draft -1 in the Liga, so okay, it's fine. But once we're in a draft year, and now he's 18 years old, well, he should be better now. And maybe it's just the rust. Maybe he's actually fantastic and he was just rusty and he didn't know what to do with the puck. But it's just like I said, he didn't look bad. It's just that he did not look good. And you expect a guy that's been hyped up for years to at some point be good when you look at him. And he hasn't. So that is it for Aaron Kerviar. It's one of the guys that I can say I was disappointed. But like I said, it could be blamed on the fact that he was rusty. And outside of that, that's basically it for Finland, because they didn't have many players that I knew. Many players, like I know Vaisinen, but I didn't really watch him much, so I don't have much of an opinion on him. So yeah, the two that I was expecting something really good from was Konsta and Emil Hemming, and it didn't really happen. So yeah, it is what it is. It's not good for them. What do you want? Next thing is Canada, and this is the last country we're gonna go through. The winners, the gold medal winners, they did really good. I think the team overall was good, but was not great. Like, and I know I say that, and they are the gold medal winning team, but like they were being dominated way too often. Like when they played against Sweden in the semifinals, in the semifinals, in the third period, they were completely dominated by Sweden. And then in the final, after having a okay first period, when the USA, they decided to push it, like Canada couldn't follow whatsoever. They couldn't touch the puck. Like the USA, just like Sweden in the third period, the USA in the second period, they did the same thing. They were faster, they were heavier, they were stronger. They were on every single puck first. Like they were making plays, they were opening space, they were finding the space. There was always somebody that was free to get the puck. It's not like it was not hard for them to make a play to another player. There was always somebody that was free, even though it's 5 against 5. It's not supposed to be that way. But yeah, so honestly, I think they were good most of the tournament. But I also think that if it wasn't for Carter George, I don't think they win that gold medal. But let's talk about the good thing. And the good thing is crazy that we can win a gold medal without players like Macklin Celebrini, and without players like Catlin or Lindstrom or Dickinson or Perek or Seneca or Parasak. Like all those players are all players that we don't have in the team, and they're all first round, and some of them top 10 player. Like in there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 if we stretch it a little bit, top 10 players. in this draft, and we couldn't have them with us. And we have another guy, Parasak, who's like a 100-point player or something like that on the season in the WHL. So it's crazy that we can win the gold medal without all those players. While every other team, they have their players, and the USA, they have that team that they've been playing together for 2 years. So, and have all their best player there. So, yeah. Really good. Outside of the team, I think my favorite player... that's gonna be strange. Obviously, my favorite player is McKenna. Like, I'm not gonna lie or anything like that. McKenna was my favorite player in the tournament and on the team. But the guy that went from a guy that I liked, that I was like, he's a good player, but in the UHL he was fine, to a guy that I really like, not top 10 like, not top 15 like, but a guy that I really like, and it's Cole Baudouin. I thought that even though he doesn't have the best production, like he has 4 points in 7 games, he was one of the best players for Canada. And he was skating hard. He was being very physical. It was impossible to take the puck away from him. He was forechecking with all that he's got. He was backchecking with all that he's got. He played on the PK. He was like creating chaos with his body and with his physicality in the offensive zone and in the neutral zone. He was just all over the ice, making plays defensively, making plays in transition, making plays offensively. He was just like a wrecking ball on the ice, and he was amazing to see, and he was just great using his stick to block plays and disrupt plays all over the ice. I don't know, he was fantastic to me. So he didn't do a lot offensively, like, 4 points in 7 games. It's not that it's bad, but it's not that it's great, and it kind of reflects the type of player that he is. Like, he's a point per game player in the OHL. I don't expect him to explode offensively because his game offensively is still limited. It's not like he has great hands. It's not like his shot is out of this world. It's not like he has great vision and passing skills and can really like find seams and wire that puck through legs and sticks. It's not him. He plays a physical north-south game. He can wreck the other team with his body. He's a player. I see him a little bit like what's that guy from 2 years ago from the QMJHL? What's his name? Nathan Gaucher. Like he was a 6'3" guy that played heavy, that was good, that was a center. Okay skater, not great skater, but just dominant physically, and a guy that's going to bring secondary offense, not primary offense, not going to be a driver, but a guy that's going to be very useful to a team that wants to go in the playoff. And Cole Baudouin is going to be that type of guy with maybe a little bit more offense, in my opinion. I think he has a little bit of a harder shot and a little bit more hands than Nathan Gaucher had or has. But it's not by much, so it's very possible that Nathan Gaucher end up being the better player. But there are players that I see like as a third line center that really that can play against the best line on the other side, that play physical, that are just really, really hard to play against, that you can put on the PK, that are just going to make your special team better, and they're going to make your team at 5v5 better. They're not going to be scoring tons of goals and stuff like that, but they're going to be extremely useful, and it's going to make your team just that much harder to play against because they can really lock it down defensively, and they can really be physical, and they will probably be good in the dot. So just that type of player, right? Every team that goes to the Stanley Cup final, they kind of need those players, those support players that are just really good and really elevate the special teams, not the power play, but the PK. So I think he's that type of player. And honestly, I don't know, I was just impressed by him. I could talk about him so much, but now I want him. I don't know if there's a way we can have him, but I want him. After that, obviously, Gavin McKenna was, he was just fantastic. Now the world knows what MCK can do. He was the best. He was the best. He was the same there at the U18 that he was in the WHL Medicine Hat. Like, even when you watch their power play, the guy that makes everything happen was not Basha, and it was not Lindstrom. It was always McKenna. McKenna was the guy with the puck on his stick. He was the guy creating space for the other, and he would sometimes relay the puck through Basha, and Basha would send it to Lindstrom, and Lindstrom would score. he was the focal point of the power play. I'm not saying that the other two are not good. I'm not saying that Basha isn't good and it doesn't deserve the praise that he gets. Same thing for Lindstrom. They're all different players, but the best player on that team was Gavin McKenna, and I mean, it's just fantastic. The guy has 20 points, 10 goals, 10 assists in 7 games as a 16-year-old draft -2 player. Like, like this is, I think it's similar to Bedard, no? If I'm not mistaken. Like, I'm not really up to date in those stats. I don't really follow that thing. But if I go Connor Bedard, I think Mishkov and Bedard had crazy draft -2 U18s. So that's draft year, that's draft -1, and that's draft -2. So it's better. All right, so it's better. And there was Mishkov also, I think, that did fantastic in that U18, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, exactly, 16 point in 7 games. So it's better than Connor Bedard, and it's better than Matvei Mishkov. So that's crazy. Other player that was really good also was Porter Marton. What a great tournament. He had a great D-1 season. I don't know. That guy will be a monster. He's a great finisher. He's big. He's fast. He's creative. He's gonna be one of the oldest player in the draft next year. But I think he's pretty much a lock to be a top 5. Like, it's hard to say a lock because obviously so much can change. Like, there's always players that you think are gonna be top 5 players and they end up not being even close to that, or even top 10. But I don't know. I feel like the guy had how much? 17 points in 7 games. He was most likely not the driver, more the finisher on that line. But I feel like he can drive, and we'll see that next year. But anyway, just a big guy that can skate, that can play, that is creative, that is fast, can play big, is a little bit chaotic, but you know, he drives to the net. He tries the backdoor play all the time. I think he's going to be really good, and I'm pretty sure he's going to end up being a top 5, top 10 pick. And outside of that, there was Tiji Ginla, who was really good. 12 points in 7 games. And that kind of scares me a little bit because, like, if the Habs stays at number 5, I don't want them to take Tiji Ginla. Like, I like Tiji Ginla, but I don't like Tiji Ginla at number 5. I feel like that's leaving so much talent on the table. But, well, that's an exaggeration. So much talent is probably not the right way to put it. But you leave talent on the table. No matter what you say, you leave talent on the table. Even if it's a defenseman, it's still you leave talent on the table. So the fact that he had that kind of production, I don't know if the front office of the Montreal Canadiens are like, oh my God, that guy's so good. He was good in the season. He was good in the playoff. He started the playoff like really, really great, and then it kind of tempered off a little bit. And then he comes to the U18 after a full season plus playoff, and he just knocked it out the park with 12 points in 7 games. Like, it's a very good sales pitch. So, but like I said, I would like the Habs to not pick him if possible. If we drop to 7, maybe, if there's a lot of players that we want that are gone. But at number 5, there's no way you don't have a player that's a better player than Tiji Ginla. Like, I say that like I look sure of what I'm saying, but the fact is that in 5 years from now, he could be a top 5 player in this draft. I don't know that. I can only make an opinion with what I've seen, and that's my opinion. I think he's a top 10 player in terms of skills, or at least he's in that tier of like 10, 11, 12 players together, but he's not at the top of that tier. Like, if I had to choose between him or Katten, I would still take Katten. If I would have to take him or Demidov, obviously I take Demidov. So, but that's gonna be on Habs to choose. I don't want to deblaterate too much on that. But anyways, in the tournament, like I said, he had a great performance. He scored big goals. He had a great shot. It was not always good though. It was fine. He forechecked hard. He played like someone who wanted to win, right? And a bit like Cole Baudouin, the way he played. Well, Tiji Ginla was the same way. Like, he played just as hard on the forecheck and on the back check that he was doing offensively. Like, he tried to make plays, he tried to get shot on net, he tried to get to the middle of the ice to get it to make his plays. He crashed to the net. He cuts to the net. So he did everything that you wanted him to do offensively, but he did the same defensively, especially on the forecheck, where he was like skating like a madman trying to break up plays with his stick. And he was really good. So he was an intense player, and he totally deserved the praise he's getting, totally deserved the production that he had. It's just, like I said, top 5 is maybe a little bit too high. At 7, I'm okay. At 5, I'm not okay. Another player, and it's funny because it's a player that somebody commented on one of my videos this week. He was commenting on my top 10 goal scorer and said I forgot Ryder Ritchie. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't think Ryder Ritchie is that great of a goal scorer. He didn't have a great season, and before the season started, I had him in one of my videos as potential top 10 players at the end of the year, and it did not happen that way at all. So it's just funny that while I'm saying somebody like I have a hard time finding his role, he's not producing well, and when you watch him, you see the skills, but what is he creating? Like, he doesn't create much, even though he has skills. So is it like an IQ issue or something like that? And then he goes to the U18s and he's just really good. Like, a lot of times I felt like when the puck was on his stick, the puck was kind of died on his stick a little bit. He went into the offensive zone and did not make make things happen. But other times he did like crazy goals. He has that goal against USA that was just amazing, and he played. I don't know, when it counted, he played really hard and he played really well. So what am I supposed to say? And the fact that he did that with like 10 minutes of ice time is kind of insane, because the guy overall, he still has 8 points, 4 goals in 7 games, and he played like literally 10 or 11 minutes a game. So I would say that was pretty good. So he played hard, did some beautiful goals, beautiful plays. I was losing hope. He's another guy a bit like Silent Valenius or something like that. I'm not sure if he's still a first round candidate. If he is, it's at the end of the first round. But he definitely has the skills. He's not that small. He's like 6 foot or something like that. So he has a chance to be in the top 32. It's just, when you look at it, when you look at his game, you kind of ask yourself, like, what is he gonna do in the NHL? Like, first, he's not producing much. He has obvious skills, but not much happens with his skills. But then at the U18, he goes and he plays really hard, and he does really well. So we're going to see how it goes until the draft. But not that he's going to play more, but maybe the recency bias will get out of my head a little bit, and then I'll drop it down, or maybe I'll remember and rewatch the game, and I'll be like, oh, no, he's so good. I don't know. We'll see. Other players that I really liked, defensively, players like Brunicky, Harrison Brunicky, and Charlie Elick. I think they were great. They bring some physicality. They were strong on defense. Brunicky with the clutch block shot against the USA, put himself in front of that shot and just absorb it. I don't know. It's crazy that they do that, and then you have to do that at the NHL level. Jeez, that's crazy. But they're both players that are a little bit limited offensively. They're players that like, the best part of their game is at defense and maybe move the puck up. But it's not players that should have the puck too much on their stick. Not that they get lost or they don't know what to do once they have the puck on their stick, but more that, like, if you want the puck to be distributed, first in a skillful way, get on tape, and also to see plays that maybe the defense isn't seeing, then you want the puck somewhere else on Elick's stick or Brunicky's stick. But it doesn't mean that they are not players that don't deserve to be first round selection. They are really good defensively. They skate well. They are physical. And I think they both did good. And I think Brunicky maybe even a little bit better than Elick, which was surprising to me. But I think they both go in the first round, and I wouldn't mind with the Jets pick. For some reason, if the Habs decide to go with a defenseman and they go like with Elick or Brunicky, and they just lock down the third pair for the future with a defensive defenseman that can skate, that can move the puck forward, and that plays physical, that is big. I'm down with that. I'm really down with that. So yeah, love them. Not that they're special, but they just player that you need to win, right? It's just that type of player. Another player that was really good, Matthew Schaefer, and he's like 2026, or no, it's not 2026. He's like a couple of days away from being 2026 eligible, but he's eligible for 2025. But I think he was really good. He's super young. Like, I wouldn't say really good. He was like pretty good overall. He skated well, had some offense in his game. He kept the puck on his stick, trying to make plays. He's not scared to try to make stuff happen when he has the puck on his stick, which is good for a guy that is draft -1 and that is so young. So overall, yeah, pretty good. Henry Muse was great. He was better than what he was in the season, I think. Like, he's not my favorite because he was very, very chaotic. Like in the CHL, but I think he played a more structured kind of game now that in the OHL. Even though he did really, really good in the OHL, he's almost a point per game or something like that. Like, actually, if we go look, here we go, Henry Muse. Henry Muse, yeah, exactly. 61 points, 15 goals in 65 games over the season. So offensively was really good. Defensively, it was a bit of a question mark, but I feel like in the U18 it was better. It was more structured. Like I said, he kind of knew where he had to go, even though he was trying to make stuff offensively, even though he was activating from the blue line and trying to make plays happen. Probably the best offensive defenseman from Canada, but not even close to Cole Hudson in terms of production and in terms of play, in my opinion. But yeah, definitely not bad. Other players that I didn't really like, but not that I didn't really like, but I feel like could have done more. I know a lot of people are really high on Luchenko now, and I'm not. Like, I don't really see it. I don't know. He had decent production, right? He's a point per game in the tournament, and I think he's almost a point per game too. Let's go check. What's the name? Jet Luchenko. Like this. Was he a point per game? Yeah, more than a point per game in the OHL. So he did really well there. And in the tournament, same thing, he did really well. But every time that I watch him, I see the speed and I see nothing else. Like, I don't see how he's going to be creating offense at the NHL level. I just don't see it. He's not a big guy. Also, if I'm not mistaken, he's not even 6 foot, right? He's 5'11". Yeah, like I said, I just don't see it. I know I don't remember who it was, but I saw a clip of somebody saying that guy might be a top 10 or a top 15 pick. It's like, I feel like that's betting a lot on his skating, and skating alone is not going to make you an NHL player, and it's not going to make you a productive NHL player or a good NHL player. It helps you get there. It's a very, very important of this part of a skill set, the skating. And he can fly. He can fly with the best of them in his draft. That's not the issue. The issue is that once he has the puck on his stick, like, it kind of dies there. Like, he goes into the offensive zone and he doesn't really know what to do with it. He doesn't really have great hands. He doesn't have a great shot. He's not necessarily a great passer. The vision isn't anything special. Creativity is not special at all. So what does he do? He comes down the wing, move like deep in the zone, try to put the puck in front of the net, and that's basically all he can do. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken. I'm mistaken, and he's really good, but I just don't see it. But why, like, somebody would see him as a top 10 or top 15 pick? That's questionable to me. Another player that I thought would. But not that I thought he would do better. I didn't think he would do better than that, but he didn't do good. Is Green Tree. Not that he didn't do good, but the production is in there, obviously. 4 points in 7 games. For a guy that's like 90 points in the OHL, you expect more than that. But he's very limited in skating, even though he has a good shot, he's a good passer, he's a smart player, he has good hands, he makes plays under pressure. Like, he has a lot of element to succeed at the NHL level, but the skating is missing. and there's serious work to be done there. But when you play on a hybrid ice, it's possible that that his lack of speed and his lack of explosion in his skating didn't help him at all. So it was a little bit kind of expected for him to not have that great of a production. And I think after that he didn't play a lot, if I'm not mistaken. Just gonna go check it out, but I think the last couple of games he barely played or something like that. If I go green tree, no, not green tree, green tree, green tree, Liam Green Tree. All right, let's go see that. What does the time look like? Yeah, exactly. So he played. It started with 12 minutes and 14 minutes, and then 11 minutes, and then it dropped to 7 minutes against Sweden, and then 4 minutes against the USA. So even though, like I said, he has a lot of skills, the skating is missing, and in international setting, it's a lot more complicated to make things happen if you don't have the skating on bigger ice. So yeah, that's it. If not, outside of that, Vanacker, like I know Vanacker, a lot of people are high on him, and I know he works hard, and he kind of that's basically the way that he produces offense, right? Is by working harder than everybody else. It's not that he's crazy skilled. He's not crazy skilled. He's a good skater. He has good hands. He has good passing skills, maybe good shooting skills, but it's not like nothing pops when you watch Vanacker. Nothing pops except his work ethic, like the way he just works hard and the way he just tries to be first on every puck and tries to go to the net and tries to deflect puck and try to jump on every rebounds and just try to win every battle and go deep in the zone and support his defenders. Just do everything that you want a player to do, but still limited in skill. And he kind of showed up in production, because if we go here, how many points did he have? He had 1 point. So yeah, the production kind of support the eye test there. It's yeah. And outside of that, well, that's basically it for Canada. There's Carter George, obviously, but I talked about him in the beginning. He was fantastic, like crazy performance. Kept Canada in the game like 1 or 2 times in that second period from the US, or is it in the third period where he did that crazy save with the stick on the red line? I don't know. He was really good. Like I thought, like he did some acrobatic clutch save, but I feel like he was pretty controlled between the posts. He squared up quickly against dangerous shot. Just overall a great tournament, and like I'm not a goalie scout, so it's hard for me to like break down his game, but all I can see is that if he didn't feel chaotic, like he was calm. Like you looked at him, he looked calm. He was mostly squared to the puck. He did a lot of saves that looked easy, like he got a one-timer from Eiserman right in the chest, but he was at the opposite of the net, and then he just moved and he was squared with the shot from Eiserman. So that was really good. He had a good glove. He was moving fast. I don't know. He did really well. So nothing else to say about that. I saw somebody who told me that he was a first-round talent. I'm not sure about that, but at the same time, like I said, I know nothing about goalies, so I will not have an opinion if he's a first-round talent or not. I don't know. Outside of that, the only player that I watched outside of those country, obviously I saw some country from Czechia, and so I saw some country, some games from Czechia and from Switzerland. Czechia, like I know they had Dzeko, but I didn't like see him. Like when I watched the game, I didn't really see him, so not much to say there. A player that I liked though, it was Leon Mugli from Switzerland. That he's playing actually in the same league as Ryan Biker played all season and all previous season too, and he did pretty well, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of status. In terms of stats, he did pretty well. Let's go see that. Leon Mugli. He's not a big guy. He's like 6 foot. Yeah, exactly, 6 foot. So 12 points in 42 games in the NL. Now if we go here and we go compare him. Draft eligible like this, and then we go all-time season, point per game. So Ryan Backer was 0.48 points per game with 22 points in 46 games. So definitely Leon Muggley is lower. He's at 0.29 points with 12 points in 42. So not the same type of production. And he's not the same type of defenseman at all anyway. But I feel like in that tournament, he was pretty good. He moved well on the ice. He was trying to make plays, was a good passer. He find the lanes and send the puck into those lanes, finding seam. Just overall, he was good until he got checked. And then he didn't play after that, so that sucks for him. But overall, he's the one player from the other team that really stood out to me. Like, he had a game that was a bit more rough. I don't remember against which team it was, but it was defensively was questionable to say the least. But the other ones, I feel like he was good. He was skating well. Like I said, he's not a big guy, so there's no physical play to his game, but offensively he was moving the puck well. In the offensive zone and in transition. In the neutral zone, he was very east-west, not very north-south, so maybe that's something that needs work, because obviously you want to move the puck as fast as possible to the offensive zone. But anyway, that's just some works that need to be done, some coaching that needs to be done, but overall I thought he was pretty good. And that's about it. Yeah, I think so. I did over pretty much everyone. I went over USA, Sweden, Finland, Canada, and Liam Muggley. So that's all I have for today. Next podcast is probably gonna be like a after lottery mock draft. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a podcast on it or if I'm gonna do a video on it, or maybe I'll do a podcast now and do a video closer to the draft. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think that's what it's gonna be. But anyway, there's going to be a podcast probably next week or Friday, or I don't know. I don't want to make promise because I'm very busy, so I don't know. But I'll try to make something happen quick enough. So again, thanks for listening. Not watching this time, but thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next one. Peace.